We're back. Cello. I always say cello first. I said we're back first this week. How you doing, everybody?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you? I'm
Great,
still a
great.
little bit sore from the pounding I took in that Patriots game from that safety.
Oh my God.
Gambling is brutal, isn't it? How does that guy, Mac Jones of all guys, finally makes a good pass, drops a 50-yarder right in Parker's hands. He drops it right through his hands.
Yeah.
And on the next down, takes a safety, and we're getting 3.5. We lose by 4. Does it
Brutal.
get worse than that?
Not really. And it's also I was watching a rewind of that play, actually. I must have been watching some show on NFL Network, and they showed that play, and I hadn't seen this before I saw this replay.
Ugh.
But basically when he took the sack, I think it was 3rd and 15 or 3rd and
Yeah.
12. And I was
Yep.
nervous already
Of
because
course.
that can happen. But I forget who it was, but I think the running back slipped out of the backfield and was wide open
Yeah.
right in front of his face.
Yeah. He was.
And was he going to get it? No. I mean, he would have had to break a few tackles
Well,
but
we would have won our bet because even if
that's
they
right.
held them on 4th down, they would have taken a knee. They had no timeouts left.
That's
So
right. And why not do that?
he couldn't see him. The rush came up
No,
the
no.
middle and he was swallowed.
I know, but you have to get rid of the ball no matter what. Even if you take a safety from a grounding, it's better than that.
I get it. The guy was, I think it was Crosby was in his face and just smothered him. But to me, he made the throw on the 2nd down. Parker down the sideline somehow got behind the defender.
I know.
And that had a chance to be a 99-yard touchdown. It was in his hands.
Yeah, or he would have caught it, and he likely would have caught it and fell down.
Yeah,
and
that's
been
fine.
On the 40-yard line.
That's right. And they would have been 2 plays away from tying the game and going to overtime.
Yeah.
So, this is what we say about gambling. And this is why we started this league.
Winning the game.
Well, no, yes, winning the game.
Right. Winning the game.
That's right. With a kick.
Yes.
And that's how close gambling can be. And that's why we started this stupid league with units, because God knows we lost a lot of money on
and that's
things
why we started
like
wannamakabet.com. Also, you know what? I didn't feel as bad about it when I saw the highlights of the ending of the Baltimore-Tennessee game. Did you see?
Yes, I did.
Did you see how we covered?
Yeah. Well, they got to the 1-yard line, and then they took a 10-yard penalty and they went backwards. So that was helpful to us.
Twice. They were inside. They started 2 drives inside the 10 and did not score and were bailed out by penalties.
Yeah. Baltimore tried to give that game away on the spread, but they just weren't having it. You know what I'm saying?
And then Vrabel with the vest and the headset.
I loved your call. First time I saw him with that vest on, I just started laughing because you were mocking his face in that stupid vest. And he had the clipboard in his hand.
Yeah.
He holds it.
And the pencil.
That pencil in the air. Sheet. God.
And never seems to be saying anything to anyone.
No, he just shakes his head in disgust.
Right.
But man, we got, listen, we were 2-3.
It was a tough week. I honestly, it could have been worse. It was bad. Minshew killed us.
Minshew was terrible. We were dead wrong on that. He threw 3 interceptions.
I know.
It was horrible.
I know.
And then even late, they had a chance. They cut it to 31-20.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned it over again.
But with all the upsets happening, and then I found out Saquon was playing, and I felt anyway that the Giants had a much better defense than like Carolina. I thought they were better, even though they're ranked worse. But
yep. Hey, listen, it didn't matter because the other team we were going to take was Tampa, and they lost anyway. So whether it was Buffalo or Tampa, it didn't really matter. We were
that's not true. We agreed
on the Kansas City
2 games that we didn't pick last week
on the Kansas City, but that was Thursday night.
Right, but we could have taken it.
I understand. Listen,
and by the way, that came down to the final possession.
I remember it. Of course, and he made a 52-yarder to cover.
That's right.
So listen, we were 2-3. We could have easily been 3-2 if the Patriots knew how to catch the ball and kick a field goal with 3-2. So we're 17-13 on the year, which is not great. Last week was rough. I think I did a little better than you overall in the picks, but it doesn't matter. In my pick pool, I was 8-7. And honestly, it wasn't, it was not so bad to be 8-7 last week, the way things broke.
Yeah, it was a very tough week. And I think even people who covered got lucky. whatever side you were on. It was just one of those weeks, and I hate to say it, but this week looks equally tough.
And I ended up winning units last week and recognized I'm still in the lead with 123,000. So
Is that right?
I came out of it pretty good. Yeah, I'm having a great year in that league.
That's great.
But let's jump into the card because there's some great games this week, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do it. First up is the Thursday night game, and we've got Jacksonville visiting the Saints. Our contest line is 1.5. I think this market has been fluctuating because there does not seem to be clear news on Trevor Lawrence's injury status. It's sort of like, depending on what your source is, but the media and even the head coach, right? Like Peterson's saying that it's day to day. That's
he
like the official
today.
word.
Practiced today,
but he did not take the majority of the snaps.
Yeah. Listen, it's CJ Beathard if he doesn't go. I like the Saints either way. First of all, I like the Saints coming home. I like them at home on a short week like this. I think their defense is really good. And I think right now, Jacksonville is a little overvalued here. I mean, they won a couple games in London. I know they beat the Bills. That was impressive. And I know they won a division game against the Colts in a game that we thought Minshew would do a lot better in a revenge spot. It just didn't happen. I mean, he was just turning the ball over left and right. And I admit Jacksonville's been playing better, but I think this is a hard week for them. If Trevor's not going to play, I don't think they're good enough. Not that the Saints offense is anything. The one trend I noticed about the Saints, which is interesting for people that play totals, and that's not me, but a lot of people listening to this and the gamble in general like to play totals. The Saints are 15-1 under the total in their last 16 games.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So this screams under. I'm taking the Saints because I got to believe that they're a field goal better in this spot. Coming off a loss in a close game to Houston where they got down to the 2-yard line with a chance to tie last week and turned it over. So I think Carr will be better. I think the Saints will show up with Kamara and that great defense. It's tough to play in New Orleans, especially on a hyped up crowd.
I agree. Them finally coming home. I think Jacksonville's, 2 weeks on the road, a big win last week, 2 very big wins against Buffalo and the Colts, and
AFC
now hitting the road in a kind of whatever game. Perfect spot for a little bit of a letdown or a trap game, whatever you want to call it, and the sort of likelihood that that Lawrence doesn't play, and we have the advantage of getting this line at 1.5.
I agree with that.
We'll see what happens, but I agree. I agree with you on Saints, and I'm thinking this may make it into our top 5. But
I think so too. I think it will too. Okay. I like them here.
So just like last week, our final will come out on Saturday night or Sunday morning, most likely Saturday night. But we're both on the Saints. Next game up, Detroit at Baltimore. They are getting 3.5, which is an advantageous line. I think current market is 3 on this. What do you think of this?
What an interesting game this is, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I heard today on the Simple Handicap from Adam Chernoff, which is a great. He covers the industry well as a professional gambler, and I like his podcast a lot. It's quick and concise, 18 minutes a day or something like that. But he mentioned that Detroit's defense has struggled over the past 2 years against running quarterbacks, and I thought that was an interesting data point. And guess who they're facing?
Yeah, Lamar. I mean, they're facing the ultimate running quarterback.
Right. But that said, when I first saw this, I was like, oh my God, Detroit's an underdog. They're
not an underdog. They're minus points.
No, Joe.
Yes, they're favored.
Oh, I have 3 and
you have it wrong. They're favored.
Oh my God, you're right. No, you're wrong. They're getting 3.5 because they were getting 2. Then it was 1.5, 2, 3. And then I was like, I can't believe if this gets to 3, not only did it get to 3, it's 3.5. They're plus. And I like them.
I don't know.
It's just like that data point about, and I also think Baltimore, I could see them winning this game. And I think maybe Detroit's it's back-to-back road games, which you're not a fan of.
I don't love that. But that London thing, coming back from London, I think also is not an easy thing to do and get readjusted. When I initially looked at it, I thought Baltimore just because I always like to go against teams that have 2 weeks in a row on the road. The thing that caught my attention with the trends is the Lions are 14-2 against the spread in their last 16 games.
Wow.
And Baltimore is 2-8-1 against the spread in their last 11 at home. So if I'm getting 3.5, I'm not going to bet against Detroit with that hot number, the way they're playing.
Yeah.
With Jamison Williams just coming back. I realize that Montgomery's hurt. I realize Gibbs is probably going to go this week. I'm okay with it. St. Brown's playing. Laporta's playing. Their defense gets after people.
Yeah.
And this is the game, if you remember, a couple of years ago, where Tucker kicked a 66-yard field goal off the crossbar and it went in to beat Detroit at home.
I had them in Survivor.
Okay, so you remember that game well.
Of course. Okay. I had Baltimore in Survivor that week.
It's unreal. And listen, initially I liked Baltimore in this spot, but I'm going to stick with Detroit, especially now that you're telling me that we're getting 3.5.
Yeah.
I like Detroit.
Okay, I'm with you. Despite that trend that Chernoff brought up, I'm not a fan of the Ravens offense, and I know Lamar is amazing, but I just think this is too many points to pass up.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the offense hasn't clicked yet. They looked a little better against Tennessee, but Tennessee doesn't have a very good defense against the pass. So they were able to pick it apart with Andrews and with the kid Zay Flowers. I think Detroit's a lot tougher defense to go up against. And I think this is going to be a close game. And if we're getting 3.5, I like that with the team that's playing with as much confidence as Detroit is.
Yeah. Okay. 2 for 2. Atlanta visiting the Bucks. NFC South battle of the uglies. 2.5 for Atlanta.
I don't like Atlanta on the road generally at all. I think they're a different team. I thought Baker would be better last week. Detroit's defense really clamped down on him. And I know Evans did play, and we thought Evans would have some big plays and that Baker would show up and, and be in that game. I think Detroit
actually. I picked Detroit in that game.
We both picked Tampa, but
you're right. You're right. I thought
I know when you flipped.
I must have switched.
I know when you flipped. You know when?
When
you spoke to the mush, and the mush told you that Tampa was his play of the day.
I thought before that I liked Tampa.
Called me. You called me with that golden nugget, which at that point I should have just logged in and put all my units on Detroit. I mean, when the mush offers you something like that and you don't ask for it, he just comes and delivers it, almost like
unsolicited.
Unsolicited. Like when people came to visit like a king and they bring a gift, like that's what he did. He called you in the middle of the day and he gave you something on a platter, and he got on his knee and he said, "Here you go, Jack."
God, that's funny. Yeah.
So we should have taken advantage of it. We didn't. But this week I like Tampa. I mean, I still think their defense is tough. I don't like Atlanta on the road, especially on a grass field. I'm not super impressed with Ritter, even though, you know what? He did throw the ball to Pitts last week and to London. So at least he realizes he has 2 good players on his team now.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like them on the road. I'm going to take in Tampa. We're -2.5.
That's right. That's the one thing I don't like.
I don't mind that.
If
it's less than 3, I'm taking Tampa.
Really? I don't like it. I'm going to take Atlanta.
Okay.
I just think this is a very ugly game. I don't want there to be consensus between us, and I don't want this to be like a debate. I don't think I don't think either one of these teams are very good. They're bottom half of the league. Let me just look at my rankings real quick.
You do have a future on Atlanta, though, so I could understand why you would side with them.
That's true.
And you have to root for them.
Yeah. I mean, I have a ticket for them to win the South.
Yep.
Let's come back to that. I'm having problems with my.
All right, so whatever you like, Atlanta. It's probably a close game. I'm going to take Tampa and think they bounce back here after a tough. Listen, there's no shame in losing to Detroit. Detroit's an upper echelon team.
Yeah.
In this league.
Yeah, that's right.
And they beat Kansas City.
I have them ranked second, by the way.
They beat Kansas City in Kansas City, for God's sakes.
I'm just seeing between Atlanta and Tampa. I have the Falcons ranked 26th, and Tampa is ranked. Where the hell is Tampa?
God, this Basil Hayden's so smooth.
All right, I can't find the Bucks. I don't know why. Where the hell are they? Can't be ahead of the Jets. Oh my God, I have them ranked 15th. That's why. Jeez. That's high.
I know.
Offense is 19th, defense is 10th.
The defense is tough, Jack.
And Atlanta's 24th on offense, 24th on D. I kind of agree with you. I
All
think
right, let's
probably
take
Tampa wins
Tampa.
this game. Yeah.
Let's take Tampa minus 2.5.
Hope it doesn't make our top 5, but okay, it is what
I'm
it is.
okay with it if it does.
Okay. Wow, 3 for 3 together. Washington Giants.
What's that line?
Washington's minus 1.5. I kind of like Washington in this game. I think that must have been incredibly deflating what happened to the Giants on Sunday night against Buffalo after almost getting it done.
Right.
Washington's been playing better of late. They did win finally on the road last week.
They looked good last week.
Yeah, and even their losses, they've been in the game. Like
I had them last week. I'm surprised you didn't like that with me. That would have been one of our top, but you didn't. You liked the other side there.
I had Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought Ritter would keep the trend going, and it, it did come down. It was a close game, but I do think Washington's trending, and the Giants are not. And that I don't know. What do you think of that performance by the Giants? Do you think they turned a corner? Do you think like this team wants to play for Tyrod Taylor and not Daniel Jones? Like what were your takeaways from that game?
My takeaway from that game was number one, Justin Pugh coming off the couch, who they drafted from Syracuse, who then went to Arizona, blew out his knee last year. They called him in. I think they paid him $20,000 for the week. And he played left tackle for 37 snaps last week against Buffalo. He's the best left tackle they've had all year. So that guy is amazing. I'm surprised that they have to sign him at this point this week. I think the Giants are a different team when Saquon plays. I think everything changes. Everything changes for them. They can run it. They can stick to the run. They can play action. I like the Giants in this game. I opposite you, I think as disappointing as that loss was, I think it proved to them that they're not nearly as bad as people have been saying they've been with their stars out. And I would love to see Andrew Thomas back. I don't think he's going to be healthy, but just having Saquon back, Evan Neal played better. That makeshift line played better. The defense played better with Saquon in the game because they felt like they had a freaking chance to win. And that made a lot of difference. And I think Washington's in a spot here where they could get picked off. Yeah. I mean, Washington is an up and down team. They have a young quarterback. They're on the road. I like the Giants here. I'm going to take the points.
It's crazy. I agree with you, Chell. You've talked me into it. Part of me thinks that they haven't won a game, right?
They're 1-5.
They're 1-5. I mean, they're desperate. I did see that on Sunday. Like they're absolutely playing their hearts out on every play. And the fact that they're going to be at home for this one and the weather might be really shitty. I see that playing into their hands with Saquon. I don't know what the injury status is on Washington. Who's their starting running back?
It's going to be Brian Robinson Jr.
Okay.
Guy that got stabbed.
When?
Last year. Oh, he got shot. I'm sorry. Remember he got shot?
Brian Robinson. Okay.
He got shot last year and he came back. Thank God it wasn't really serious. Like the bullet went in and right out,
Mm-hmm.
So he's fine. Tough neighborhood he lives in, obviously.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I don't know. And I hope it's not my heart talking here, but I kind of feel like, I'm torn. Like I said, I think part of me thinks the Giants, like that was such a brutal loss to lose that way.
Yes, I can understand like you thinking that's deflating. I actually think it proved to them a little bit that, hey, you know what? We're getting it together here. We're not a 1-5 team. And we're playing a division team that, by the way, the Giants normally beat up on the Redskins. That the one thing the Giants have always done is beat the Redskins. Mm-hmm. So to get them in their own building as an underdog, I like that.
Yeah, when it's usually a 3-point game, 3.5.
Correct.
Right. Yep. Okay, I'm with you.
I love it.
I can't believe we agree on every game so far.
Are we plus 1.5 in that? We're getting 1.5.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Raiders, Bears. Raiders are laying 3.5. No. Who's starting for Chicago? Well,
it's going to be that rookie kid, the undrafted kid. Either that or Nate Peterman. If it's Peterman, they can't win. I think they'll go with the kid who came in the game, which was he threw a touchdown and an interception.
Tyson Bagent, right?
Yeah, but who's starting for the Raiders? Because I think Jimmy G's hurt.
I think he is too, and I don't think it's clear. Hold on, let me just see here.
You know, Fields is not listed as out. He did dislocate his right thumb, which obviously they pop back in. It's got to be a lot of swelling. I don't know if you've ever done that, but that's not fun. So
No.
I don't even know if he's going to be able to grip the ball. I think he practiced today in a limited capacity. So I don't necessarily think that he's necessarily out for this week.
Okay,
What
but
what is the line?
we have to, if you like the Raiders, well, either way, they're laying 3.5.
I like the Bears. I think the Raiders. I don't think the Raiders are a great team. I think they got away with one against New England at home. And if Stidham is starting, the Bears to me are playing a little bit better on defense lately. And I think they'll be able to run the ball against the Raiders. And I think it's going to be an ugly game. Obviously, I don't think this is going to be,
But
a fun,
Tyson,
like
but this guy
41
Tyson
38
Badgins.
type game. I think it's going to be low scoring. Um, and I think that, listen, an interesting trend that I saw, the Raiders are 0-9 on the road against the spread as favorites.
Mm-hmm.
The minute I saw that, I said, I'm taking the Bears.
Oh, I don't know how you can back this
I'll
team.
take the 3.5 at home.
They don't have a quarterback, Joel.
I get it. I watched the kid come in. He fumbled the first snap. Minnesota picked it up and ran it in for a score.
Yeah.
After that, he settled down and threw a touchdown pass and had a chance in the fourth quarter to tie the game and turned it over. I think he's going to be better with a week of practice.
All right. I'm done with Chicago, so I'm on the Raiders.
Okay. Makes sense. You still have Devontae Adams and you have Josh Jacobs and you have Mason Crosby. There's no reason why the Raiders can't go in there and win this game. I just think that stat 0-9 against the spread as a road favorite, you don't bet into that, in my opinion.
No, good point. Good point. Assuming healthy quarterbacks, I would probably agree with you.
True. If they had Jimmy G, I don't think I'd be jumping on Chicago so fast. But,
Right.
They have a backup quarterback too.
I'm saying assuming you have a healthy quarterback. If you're the Bears, I like that bet, but not when you're playing. Your backup isn't even a name. Like, it's one thing if it's one of these guys like a Tyrod Taylor who's been around the league kicking around for 5-10 years.
Jack, I totally get it. I'm not listen, the numbers are the numbers. I don't think it matters who plays. I think that they're coming off. This is not going to be an easy trip for them. La-di-da-di-do in Chicago in this weather. They're not built for this type of a game in terms of that stadium. They like a fast track. They're a skill team, Yeah. I don't like them here. I think Chicago can make the game dirty, slow the game down by running it, hit a couple of big plays to DJ Moore and be right in this game.
Okay. I don't think they have the D to stop these guys, but let's move on. Buffalo is on the road playing New England. New England's absolutely reeling. Mac Jones is horrible and yet won't get pulled. Buffalo laying 8.5, which seems like a lot of points, despite everything that I just said. I mean, can they cover that? Buffalo does not look good the last 2 weeks. They're going to suddenly snap out of it at Gillette Field in the rain.
Historically against Belichick, you wouldn't think so, but I'll tell you a couple of stats that I read. Number one, and importantly, New England has not scored over 20 points this whole season.
Mm-hmm.
I realize it's been 6 games, but they are offensively challenged. The Bills have a really good defense, and they know the Patriots well. And recently, since Josh Allen has been there, that bias that used to be Brady kicking the shit out of Buffalo every fucking week has changed. The Bills has been smashing New England. I think they're going to boat race New England here. I think that New England they lost Judon, they lost Gonzalez. They're sticking with Mac Jones, who I get it. He threw that beautiful pass and, the guy couldn't catch it. So, I mean, it's not his fault, but they're a team that's reeling. I think 8.5, I'm going to lay that. I think Buffalo wins this game by over 2 touchdowns. And I don't think they allow New England to score more than 20 points again. So I'm thinking like 34-14, 31-17 at most. But I think Buffalo gets theirs on offense against them because without Judon, their pass rush is non-existent. And without Gonzalez, they lost their best cover guy. I mean, who's going to cover Diggs?
Right. Well, the answer to that is let's answer that question.
And the other thing is,
I like New England in this game, but I want to
You brought
Just
up a
think
good point last week to me, and I dismissed it, and I shouldn't have. And you said, do you think that Buffalo will have sort of a soft spot with Schoen and Dable coming back, that maybe they aren't as focused as running it up? You know what I'm saying? And I
mhm,
think maybe that game was a lot closer against the Giants, scripted wise by McDermott than it should have been. You know what I'm saying?
mhm. Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any credence to that, but that's certainly the way it worked out. I mean, Buffalo looked completely disinterested to me on offense. They did not, there's no way the Giants defense can confuse you to that level, that the Bills were unable to move the ball the way they were, that they had to throw. Josh Allen had to throw the winning touchdown rolling out to a guy that had never made a catch,
Mhm.
which is that third string tight end. So, I think New England now is,
God, their
is in a bad.
defense is absolutely
Yeah,
decimated.
New
You know
England's
that?
decimated. New England's
Trey
decimated.
Flowers, Judon, John
Yep,
Jones, Sean Wade, Marcus Jones. I mean, all four cornerbacks on one side.
I know.
Two other, Jack Jones is on IR, Gonzalez IR, Duger is questionable,
Yeah,
and
Duggar's
Jabril
very good.
and Peppers is questionable.
They're
Like
in big trouble,
their
New
whole
England.
safety core, the linebackers,
Yep.
the defensive tackles, like, ugh.
I like Buffalo a lot here, -8.5. And if you don't have the confidence in that, you can always put them, that qualifies as a Wong teaser. You can
Yeah.
Wong tease them down to 2.5 if you don't want to give the 8.5. And I would bet that in a lot of teasers. Like, I'm
Mhm.
a big fan of that bet because I don't see New England winning this game at all. I don't understand how they could possibly win it. I know Stevenson's very good, but their receivers are not good.
He's
They
actually
can't catch.
questionable.
Who is?
He was limited in today's practice.
Ramonde?
Yeah.
He's gonna play.
Yep.
He's gonna play. But I'm on the Bills.
All right. It's hard to disagree with you. I just think it's a lot of points and that the records don't matter in a game like this. And I'm gonna take New England just because I don't like the way Buffalo's been playing. I think something's wrong with Josh Allen. I don't like the way he's been throwing the ball, despite the fact that Chris Collinsworth said he could watch him throw the ball all day long right before two
That
interceptions.
was funny.
Right before an interception, he said that.
Yeah, he's got
Um,
a way of doing that Collinsworth.
but yeah, I just think it's too many, Cello. I like your idea on the Wong teaser, but on the 8.5 and for the contest, I don't want to do it.
A lot of points in division game. I'll give you that.
Yep. All right. I'm on the Pats. You're on the Bills. Cleveland, 1.5 on the road. We talked. This is kind of like lower than the market. I think
Yeah,
current market.
market's 3 on this game. We got a really favorable line here if you like Cleveland. I wish I was with you. I'm not. I think this is a letdown spot for the Browns. PJ Walker, in his second start. Deshaun Watson. I mean, is he ever going to play again? What does he have, a headache? I don't even get this guy. This guy, is he just not getting massaged properly in Cleveland? Is that what it is? He hasn't found a place yet to go. I don't understand this guy.
Come on.
Um,
I heard that all week on the fan. Okay. Obviously, you've been.
I don't get it. I mean, what's wrong with the guy? I don't listen. PJ Walker played a great game. I thought your defense was great. I liked Cleveland last week, if you remember,
I
on the
know. You
podcast.
picked them.
I thought it'd be a very hard win for San Francisco. And I get they missed a 42-yard field goal at the end. Purdy did
Yeah.
enough to get them into position to win that game. Your kicker has to make that kick.
Yeah.
It's a 42-yarder. It's not like it was
41.
windy. I mean, come on. I mean, most kickers would make
It was windy, by the way. It's the worst place to kick in the league.
I do agree. It's not an easy place to kick, but still, dude, a 41-yarder when you're San Francisco to stay undefeated.
Rookie
It was
kicker.
just, but I was on the right side there with Cleveland. I knew it would be a very hard game. Listen, Myles Garrett and your defense is, when I say I mean, everyone knows on this thing, you're a Browns fan. The Browns defense is phenomenal. And they have an ability to run the ball I like this. They got Hunt more involved last week, which I like to see. So you got this kid who I like, the junior kid,
Jerome Ford.
Ford Jr., and you have Hunt.
Yeah.
And you have Amari Cooper who made some catches, but I just think this is a letdown spot for them. Listen, Colts are coming back off a disappointing loss to a division team. The Cleveland could not be higher than they possibly are. They just beat the best team in the league that's supposed to win the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
I don't think they're going to be mentally up for this game. And I think that matters in the NFL. It's hard to keep that level of that high level of performance against teams that aren't as good. And I know they don't think I know they think they're better than the Colts going in. So I think they could get picked off here. I know 1.5 in our thing isn't enough, but in Megabucks, I took the Colts +3 today. I'm just telling you, I made the bet already.
Yeah.
So I know on our line, for the purposes of this show and the purposes of our contest, it's 1.5. I'm not saying I like it there, but I took the 3 points. I like the Colts.
Yeah. Look, what Minshew did last week was so bad. The question I have is he going to follow up that performance with another stinker? Or is he going to bounce back and play great? I could kind of see both game states happening, with a more likelihood that he'll play bad, because I actually think our defense is a lot better than Jacksonville's. And so there was something that happened in that game. And it also kind of reminded us why he's a backup quarterback and why he was thrown out of that town. I mean, he's not very good. He's not a high quality. I don't know. I don't think he's a high quality backup. He's not going to win 6 games for the Colts this year.
I don't know, Jack. Like last week, you were talking a different tune before he lost that game. We were saying he's one of the best backups in the league. So you're gonna change. You're gonna go 180-degree turn on one performance.
Well,
I don't think that's
disagree.
Fair. I don't think it's fair to do that.
The other thing I disagree with you on is that I think that was a huge boost of adrenaline to beat the 49ers the way that we did. And that was with PJ Walker actually playing quite poorly. So he, I think, learned a lot during that game. He's going to play a much softer defense this week. And it's an AFC game that we basically have to win. At the end of the year, when it's wins and losses, you don't want to look back and say you lost to the Colts when they're not going to win their division, and they're going to probably win 6 or 7 games. It's sort of like a game you got to win. And I think we should take advantage of the only laying 1.5 when market's 3 and likely maybe 3.5. I don't disagree with some of what you said, but
I'm not doing it with you.
The other thing is that Deshaun might actually play. Like, and he's, I have to check my like inside Cleveland sources. But there's a high likelihood that he could play and that we could get this at 1.5, Cello. And in that case, then I really like Cleveland.
Well, I'll tell you this. If he doesn't play and PJ Walker wins another game, he could get Wally pipped, and you guys paid him all that money and he is out on the street. Because if PJ Walker wins 2 games in a row for you and your defense is rolling like this, he says, "Oh, I'm ready to play now." Let me tell you something.
Definitely not.
They might not want him back.
PJ, trust me. I'm on the verge of taking the Colts in this game. That's how bad PJ played in that win. Like, he did not play well last week. It was not a good performance.
I thought he made some good throws.
He almost, and as I think you saw the third down play when he either audible to himself or did something absolutely inexcusable when he rolled out, and instead of just sitting down on the ground and making them burn a needed timeout, he threw it across his body and almost threw an interception to lose the game.
Honestly, Jack, I blame Stefanski on that, because that's poor coaching. You have to know that you could have made them burn that other timeout, and you left the timeout for them. And because you left them that timeout, you let Purdy get them in field goal range. Without that timeout, he did
that himself. It was just, it reminded me of the Tyrod Taylor play where after the game, he said, "That's on me." And that's why Dable freaked out, because he did something he wasn't allowed to do.
Well, then he's just an idiot. But PJ Walker's been in the league a long time. And so is Tyrod Taylor. The point is, you can't call a play where you allow these guys, in a situation like that where you have the advantage. You have to run the ball into the line. It doesn't matter if you lose 2 yards. They have to be able to burn their timeouts. That's all you're looking to do there. You don't even need a first down. You need that because with your defense, all you need for them to do is burn their timeouts. And instead, you threw an incomplete fucking pass. Stupid, inexcusable.
I know.
And you're lucky to win because they missed a 41-yard field goal. Listen, I think this is a letdown spot for Cleveland. I think Cleveland's a very good team. This is going to be a hard game for them to win. Mark my words. This is not an easy game for them to go win. I took the Colts +3. I get it that it's only 1.5 in the contest, but I'm not swayed enough to go with you in that for this contest. That will not be one of our picks.
Okay, let's move on.
You're on the Browns with 1.5, obviously.
Yep. Pittsburgh. Speaking of our teams, back to back here, you are getting 3.5 from the Rams, which might be a half point more than market.
Yeah, the line's 3. We got a favorable line here. I love Pittsburgh in this game off the bye.
What?
I love us off
How?
the bye.
You have no
We're four.
offense.
I'll tell you this. We're 14-3-1 under Tomlin as a road underdog against the spread.
Okay.
And 11 of those 14 games, we've won the game.
Okay.
And we're getting 3.5.
Well, why are you going to win this game?
And we're getting 3.5. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
I'll take Pittsburgh. Thank you very much.
Well, what aside from the trends, what on the field is going to happen? Like, what makes you think that?
Well,
that
you want me to tell you
that your offense can score any points?
You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting Deontay Johnson back. He's our number one wide receiver. He's missed the last 4 games with a hamstring. We're getting Freiermuth back. He's healthy off the bye. He's our starting tight end. We have Jaylen Warren and Najee. We have a 2-headed monster at running back. Mm-hmm. Our line is playing better. We started Broderick Jones. PFF graded him out as one of the best linemen in the league, his first start. Okay. Yeah. We obviously have Pickens. Pickett is going to get better, not worse. We have TJ Watt. We have Minka. We're bringing it on defense. The Rams have been good running the ball all year. They lost their running back this week. He's out. They're starting a rookie that I've never heard of.
Kyron Williams.
They're starting a rookie I've never heard of. Zach something. I forget his name. Zach Evans. They brought in guys like Myles Gaskin. They're scrambling. They're panicking. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they're coming off a nice win. This is an AFC team coming in against them. If they lose this game, it's not the end of the world for them. I like us this week on the money line, and I would definitely take the 3.5. I think we have a real shot to win this game. This is a Tomlin kind of game.
They're with Kupp back and the way they pass the ball and your secondary. Like, I get you that you're going to stop the run and shut that
Joey
down.
Porter Jr. was rated the number 1 rookie on PFF so far this season, and he's been getting more and more snaps. He had the big interception in the end zone against Lamar last week or 2 weeks ago before the bye. And I think he's going to be, I don't know if he's going to start, but he's certainly working his way towards starting, and he is elite. He is an elite shutdown corner in this league.
Okay.
And
so
I would be very careful.
Kupp? Who's covering Kupp? Levi Wallace or Patrick?
Nobody can cover Kupp.
Right.
The answer is nobody in the league can cover Kupp.
Right.
Kupp's open on every play. But can TJ Watt make Stafford move off his spot? Stafford cannot move. He's a statue in the pocket. He's not a running quarterback. Okay. So you got Highsmith and Watt coming at him from both ends every play.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't run it because they have a rookie running back. I'm telling you, this is not like Williams. If they had Williams, I would be very, very scared in this game because we're not great against the run. But there's no way a rookie running back is going to beat us in a game like this. We're going to make Stafford beat us.
I disagree. But I mean, no, I disagree that he can't. I think he will. And I don't think that's the right strategy to make him beat you, because he will beat you, especially with your secondary and their pass rush. I like the Rams, and I like the 3.5. That says something.
Okay. Looks like we have a Venmo bet coming. That's easy. Even though at the end of the day, you never like that bet because you always get scared at the end when you have to lay the 3.5. You're like, oh, why don't we do it at 3?
Well, let's see where the market is on Sunday.
Yeah. I'll take the 3 anyway.
Arizona at Seattle. I wonder if I've used Seattle in Survivor yet. This is 7.5.
Mm-hmm. The real line's 8.5. So we have a favorable line here. I will jump right in here.
Seattle's defense got healthy. I see they returned a lot of starters. Arizona back-to-back weeks not playing well at all. Is this like the 3-win team everyone thought they were going to be? Is this too many? What are you thinking here?
Arizona's 1-5, right?
Yeah.
They've won 1 game. They've been in a lot of games. Last week they were not in the game. Let me just give you some trends. You tell me what you think. Arizona's 1-10-1 against the spread in their last 12 divisional games. Seattle is 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 against Arizona. I think Seattle is going to kill Arizona.
Yeah.
Arizona lost their running back. Connor is out. That's like, it's the same thing as the Giants without Barkley.
Yep.
James Conner is everything to them. The whole offense runs through him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not there. They tried to play a couple rookies last week. Ineffective. Mm-hmm. They're not good enough on defense to make up for it. And the quarterback play has been, Dobbs is decent, but you can't say he's an upper echelon quarterback.
Yeah.
And you're going into Seattle, which is a team that's fully loaded and healthy with Metcalf and freaking Lockett and the kid from Ohio State, and you got Walker the third. I think Seattle's going to bury Arizona. I love Seattle here. As a matter of fact, they're my survivor pick this week.
Me too. I think I'm with you, by the way, everything you said. And I also think the added, they could have so easily beat the Bengals last week.
They had chances.
Yeah, they really did. That's got to be bothering them. It's not like they're gonna be complacent after like a nice big win. It's like a horrible road loss. They're back. They're playing an easy opponent.
Yep. Well, it's a division game. Listen, these things. I'm going against my thing. Like, I hate taking division games in Survivor because this game means a lot to Arizona to show up and maybe win this game. And I'm not saying they can't win it, but if they had Kyler Murray and they had and they had Hopkins, they could win it. I don't see that happening this week. Seattle off a loss. Seattle to me is a playoff team. Arizona is a doormat. Kyler Murray's coming back. He's off the PUP list. He'll probably they have 21 days to reinstate him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how Arizona has enough to stay in this game. I really, especially off a loss, I like Seattle to really put it on Arizona this week. And I mean, put it on thick. I think this is a blowout.
Okay. I generally agree with you. I do have some part of me thinks with the entire country being on this game in Survivor and every single teaser bet and every single square bet in the country is going to be on Seattle, trying to make all back the money they lost at 1:00 with just loading up on Seattle at 4, that it could end up 27-21.
Am I crossing this off? Am I crossing this off my consensus list then? I just wrote it down. You're not with me? You like Arizona? You've been with Arizona all year, and you've been decent with them. You were wrong last week.
I was. That's what's actually giving me pause, is that they're starting to play like the team that like I said at the beginning, like that I thought they were going to be at the beginning. They lost James Conner. They surprised everyone in September. They played great. They lost
James Conner. They lost their best player. It's the same thing as when the Giants lost Saquon. They can't win.
Yeah.
The difference is when you guys lost Chubb, you have the best. I mean, I'm at the best, but I have you at the best, but top 3 defense in the league.
Right.
Right.
And let me see Arizona's defense, what they're ranked.
They're not. I don't think they're great, Jack. I don't think they're in the top 20.
Yeah. Well, hold on.
They've got to be mid-20s. They're nothing special.
They are 31st.
Exactly.
Oh,
jump aboard. Come on, jump on Seattle with me. This is a boat race game. This is a game where they get buried.
And their offense is 12th. Let me just see what Seattle. So that they're overall ranked 25th for my rankings, and then I have Seattle ranked.
Seattle's coming home angry after that loss to Cincinnati.
Wow, I have Seattle ranked 10th here.
Yeah, they're really good, Seattle.
And their offense is 9th. Defense is 16th. Okay, hey, listen, I'm with you.
Jack, you're with me, right? Let's put it in the consensus. I'll tell you this. Here's a bet for you. Put in a Wong teaser, Seattle and Buffalo. Sit back and enjoy your day. Sip a nice bottle of wine.
Okay. Right? Chargers at Chiefs. Short week for the Chargers. Playing the best team in the league, getting 5.5. Herbert is not top tier. It was a big win for Dak Prescott in Dallas.
God, were you right about that one?
He looked great. Didn't he look great?
I didn't watch it,
but he looked great.
I was at the Rangers home opener, so I didn't see any of the game, although I did have the TV on in front of us, but I was too drunk to watch it. But I would say that I was on the train for the fourth quarter texting with you guys, and the Chargers had a chance to win that. I mean, they could have tied the game, right? They had a million chances. At the end of the game, I believe that Dallas only had 1 sack the whole game, and it came with Parsons at the end of the game, sacked Herbert on the last drive, and it cost the Chargers the game. So I didn't watch any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised the Chargers weren't better at home off a bye on offense to score 17 points. I mean, without Trayvon Diggs, how could Dallas have been that good? Come on. I think that was just a failure of the Chargers. And I think maybe, they got caught, playing an NFC team that, let's face it, Dallas was embarrassed the week before. Yeah. You knew Dallas. You said it. Dallas was going to come in and play a better game, and you were right.
Yeah.
And it was a 3-point win. And the line was 1.5, whatever, too.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to you that you won that game. I was wrong. I had the Chargers winning it, but I like the Chargers this week. This is a division game. Kansas City has not been impressive to me. They scored an average of 24 points a game, which is very un-Kansas City-like. Every team is in the game against Kansas City. They haven't blown anybody really out. I mean, they beat Denver. They laid 10.5. They won by 11 on a 52-yard field goal at the end of the game.
And how are they going to stop the Chiefs? I mean, their defense, I have them ranked 26th. Like, they're just going to get.
The Chiefs' offense is not that good, Jack. Chiefs' offense is not what you think it is. They don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. They're averaging
6th. I know they don't have a wide receiver.
They're averaging 24 points a game. This is not the Chiefs' offense that you think it is.
No, I know, Cello. They don't have a wide receiver 1.
So let me ask you this. If Kansas City, let's say Kansas City scores their average, 24 points. You don't think San Diego's going to score 21 with Herbert? In a matchup that they know Kansas City inside and out. Didn't they win there last year?
Yeah.
Didn't they go in there and win that game? It was exciting. I think they did.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to play in Kansas City. I like the Chargers this week. And I actually like them on the money line. Well, I think the Chargers can come in and upset Kansas City.
I like the points. Like I said, I like Kansas City when they're a short favorite, not laying numbers like this.
Yes.
So I'm with you. I agree.
All right. Chargers plus 5.5.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
What's the current market on that game?
I think it's, I didn't look at one on that. I didn't look at one on that because that's a 4:00 game, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even get to the 4 o'clocks really. I think it was 6. I had to guess. I would say it's 6, not 5. Can you pull it up on Wana real quick?
Yeah. Gonna go home. Well, I'm gonna pull it up on DraftKings
DraftKings or Caesars or whatever you use. What happened to Mason? Is he going to call in and give us the totals?
I don't think so. Sammy had a soccer game. It's 5.5. Same number. Okay. We're moving on to Denver. The Packers are a road favorite at Denver. You still like Denver? This is like Denver's like your team this year. This is an ugly game.
Are they my team? When did I like Denver? You liked them last week. I had Kansas City. We both had Kansas City. What am I talking about?
Yeah, we did.
I don't like Denver at all. I think listen, the Packers are off a bye. I know they have Love, who's a young quarterback, but Watson, I think, is going to be ready to roll. I don't think Denver can stop anybody. I like Green Bay a lot. Love Green Bay in this game.
I don't. I'm taking Denver.
What's the line? What am I getting with Green Bay? 1.5?
You're laying a half point.
Green Bay minus a half?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. I think Green Bay is going to win the game.
I think Denver gets a win here. Okay. It's an ugly game, but I'm, when you're done with a quarterback, I'm done with Jordan Love.
I thought you said you were done with Wilson.
No.
Okay.
I've never like this. I said I'm done with Fields, done with Jimmy G, done with
and you're done with Jordan Love. You're done with you're throwing a young quarterback out until already in his career. He's played 6 games. You're done with him. He's gone.
You know when a quarterback does something and you see them do something and you say to yourself, I'll never bet on that guy again when he does something.
I've lost money on a million of those guys. Ken Graham, Bubby Brister.
Oh my God, you said Ken Graham because I actually thought of him. He threw it as hard as he could in one of his, I forget, the running back's chest.
Yeah.
But this Jordan Love, I forget the game. It was earlier this season. He had a 4th and 2. Okay, he needed to convert a 4th and 2, and it was a division game. It may have been the Vikings.
Okay.
4th and 2. So nobody was covering the wide receiver like at the bottom of the screen, and the guy kind of like waved his hand like I'm gonna be wide open. Just
and he didn't throw it
to me.
Right.
He snapped the ball. The guy stepped 3 yards forward. He had a clear first down. He was wide open. Love saw it, threw it right over his head.
Isn't it great? Like when a guy on the sideline catches it. I love that.
And I had money on Green Bay, and I'm like, and it was just one of those moments where I was like, I'm done with him. And Fields has done it to me more than one time because I'm an Ohio State fan, but I'm done with Love.
By the way,
And
that was
betting
the
on them.
Raider game. I had the Raiders and you had Green Bay. I know exactly that game. And the Raiders won that game.
Oh yeah, it
Jimmy
was.
G.
It was the Raiders.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I know the exact play now. It came back to me.
Yeah.
Can I tell you the Kent Graham play that comes to my mind?
No, was it against Cleveland?
Steelers were driving. And he played for the Steelers. He was the ugly. I've never seen an uglier player in a Steeler uniform than Kent fucking Graham. His head was the size of a fucking watermelon. The helmet looked ridiculous. Didn't even fit on his head.
Yeah.
And he was number 10 and he just looked horrible.
Awful.
And he faded back to pass. And I swear, he threw a ball right to the defensive lineman. The guy just grabbed it out of the air and ran it in. I think he might have been on the Browns.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, did he just throw an interception for a touchdown to a defensive lineman? And he did. I know it was 20 years ago, but I'm a sick degenerate. And this
Fields
shit
did it. Fields did it this year.
In my brain.
Fields did it this year in the end zone against Washington.
No shit. That's how we lost the bet.
Yeah, I know.
It was against Tampa Bay. We had him. Yes, it was against Tampa. And we had the Bears that day. And you know what? Again, similar to what what happened with the Patriots. They're in their own end zone. Mm-hmm. Anything but a safety or an interception.
Anything but that.
And we fucking cover. And instead we got fucking fisted. Fisted. And that's why you can't bet real money on this shit.
All right. I'm on Denver. You're on the Packers. Sunday night, Miami at Philadelphia.
What a game this is. My God. Could this be the Super Bowl? Potential Super Bowl preview?
Possible.
I mean, come on.
I gotta say, my Jalen Hurts future MVP ticket that I have took a real hit last week.
Yeah, it's not looking great this year.
That's on him. Like, you talk about what PJ Walker did. Justin Fields. I mean, Jalen Hurts, you have the game on the line. Your defense is playing great. Jets aren't going to score. They're not going to beat you. You had 3rd and long, and that's, I don't know if that, I'll put that partially on Sirianni. Hand the ball off. Get 7 yards and kick it. Why are you dropping back to pass and trying to complete a 3rd and long against that defense? Explain that to me.
In that spot, I think you're right. I think that Philadelphia has a bigger thing over them this year because, they were 5-0 coming to this game, but anyone you talk to, even Philly people, would be like, they just don't look the same. And I think the fact they lost their offensive coordinator is a big deal. Like this offense is not the same offense. Mm-hmm. So they're not doing the things they did so easily last year. That was literally like last year, there were moments. I had Jalen Hurts last year to win the MVP. I thought, if you remember on the podcast, every week I'm like, Jalen Hurts is lighting it up. And Philly was like wrecking teams on offense. They were almost unstoppable. Yeah. They're not that team this year. It's very similar to what I'm saying about Kansas City. Kansas City scoring 24 points a week. Kansas City is not the team they were when they had Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, but with the Chiefs, I mean, look, we know Andy's calling the offense, and I actually truly
and the enemy left.
They don't.
The enemy's gone.
A wide receiver number one.
I get it,
but to have one, and it's so obvious that
they got this kid Rice now. That the rookie Rice looks like he's going to take the spot.
But yeah,
he made some really nice plays.
Philly looks like they're just like, and I said this, I forget, in one of our handicaps a few weeks ago, that they just a lot of times on offense, like things break down, and it's just like their offense is like winging it, right?
They don't look, the offense looks plain and vanilla to me. Last year, it looked special.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it to you. The other thing about Philly is, are they getting Slay back? Is Slay playing this week?
I'll tell you right now.
Because who the fuck is going to cover Tyreek Hill and Waddle? Their secondary's already been hurt. I know Jalen Carter didn't play last week against the Jets, which hurts them. He's a great rusher. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to look at Philly's defensive injuries and tell me where they are, because my inclination initially is to take Philadelphia in this game. I love Miami's
he's questionable.
He's questionable. Slay.
Yeah. He was
I like Miami's offense a lot, and I respect McDaniel as a coach. I think he's very good. I will say this about Miami. their strength of schedule have been very weak.
I know.
Miami hasn't beaten really anybody, and the team that they played that was good was Buffalo. And I get that they're in their division and it was in Buffalo. They lost by 21 points. So my inclination initially here is take Philadelphia because it's a tight spread. Philly's at home. I just don't know if they're healthy enough on defense. I don't know on the back end, how are they going to contend with Waddle and Tyreek Hill in the secondary if they don't have these guys playing? I mean, you can't have backups trying to guard these guys.
Blankenship negative on the x-ray, his ribs. So, but that doesn't mean he's necessarily playing. He's questionable. Bradbury's fine.
Is this game Sunday night or Monday night?
Sunday night.
All right, you guys, Eddie, you got to watch the injury report on this. What is the line? 1.5?
Yeah.
I wouldn't take Philly because I think by then they should be healthy enough.
2.5, child. Two and a half.
It's 2.5.
Yeah.
And I like Miami a lot. And I'm not saying Miami can't win because obviously their offense can score at any time. But if they run into a team, if they play the way they played in Buffalo, they're going to lose because Philadelphia has AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, and Miami's defense is not that great. I mean, I know that Fangio's there, and he has I think a better reputation than his defense has played this year thus far. So I'm gonna lay less than a field goal with Philadelphia. That I'm taking Philly.
I am too. I think I think that loss was good for them. Wake up call and get them focused, right? Like they just, think they're going to go through the season like playing poorly and winning every game. Well, no, they actually just lost to the Jets.
Yeah, they have some adversity now. Let's see how they do off adversity. I think they're coming home. Philadelphia as a city is on fire. I mean, have you seen what the Phillies have been doing? They won 10-0 last night.
I know.
They're demolishing people.
Brad was at the game.
Yeah, they're gonna win. They're gonna win the World Series.
Yeah. But I agree with you on the softness of Miami's schedule. Like I'm not impressed that they blew out Carolina. And by the way, let's not forget that they had to come back from that
against
game.
The Giants.
They played the Giants and Carolina, the two worst teams in the league the last 2 weeks. And I can't say they look that great. Now they blew out Denver, and that's a bad team. So okay, good for them. But yeah, strength of schedule. It's been weak. The best team they played was Buffalo, and they got their doors blown off.
Totally agree with you. I'm 100%. I love Philly this week. I'm with you on that 100%. I'll tell you this. There's a lot of people at the beginning of the year that said Miami's going to be really good as long as Tua stays healthy. This is a week where Tua might not be healthy. He better watch himself because he could be buried in this game. One hit from these guys. These guys come to get the passer. I know your team last week did a hell of a job, your offensive line against San Francisco. Yeah. But Philadelphia can bring it the same way with their defensive line.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, Miami.
We just talk real quick. We didn't talk about the fact that the pregame fight on the sideline, it wasn't really a fight, but it was
I didn't really see it, kind of
skirmish. But the way that both Jimmy Johnson and Michael Irvin reacted to that.
I didn't see it.
Michael Irvin was incomprehensible. And he's hard to understand on a good day when he goes on a rant. But he was incomprehensible.
He couldn't understand what he was saying.
Couldn't understand a word he was saying, but he was losing his mind about poking the bear and how that was the dumbest. And Jimmy Johnson followed it up and said the exact same thing on another network at the exact same time on CBS.
Yeah.
How that was the dumbest possible thing that Cleveland could do would be to start a fight with the 49ers and quote unquote, poke the bear. You never want to poke the bear.
Right.
Because San Francisco, may have been interested in that game and may not have been. But once you did that, look out.
Well, he obviously didn't know what he was talking about. And the other
was that amazing.
But the word you used, incomprehensible, was wrong. It's actually unintelligible.
Well, yes.
When you can't understand what a person's saying. Like he was just so manic. You could not, he was just spitting out words that made no sense.
That's right.
Unintelligible.
Right. Unintelligible. Thank you for the correction.
I loved you last
that
year.
Was great. That was
my favorite line from you last year was, Jack?
What?
Organizational
negligence.
Yeah.
Okay. So we both on Philly last.
Yeah, we are. I like
49ers. Do they bounce back and lay a hurt on the hapless Vikings? Who, by the way, give me a little credit. I had them last week. I didn't care who that
Listen,
Jefferson was
you
missing,
had
and
them, but
I thought Kirk Cousins
listen,
could just throw it to any of 5 people, and he
bro,
did.
calm down. Listen to me. I was a little bit wrong on Minnesota's defense because they're a little tougher against the run than I thought they were. They're better than they are. But I will say, Fields went out of the game at the end of the second quarter, and they put a kid in that never played a fucking down in his life, and
Yep.
they only lost by 7. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a believer in Minnesota. The thing with this game is McCaffrey's hurt.
Yeah.
McCaffrey has an oblique. So what that means for San Francisco is second week on the road in a row, which I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Off a loss, which I do like, and without McCaffrey, who's an elite running back. So now they have Elijah Mitchell and some other dude that I can't even remember his name. And does that matter? Do you think that matters? I mean, it's 6.5, right?
Yes, it is 6.5. Let me just look at 49ers. Their
I
injury.
don't think that McCaffrey's going to play. He's got an oblique. When you hear
Questionable.
oblique, that's 2 to 3 weeks, dude, minimum.
Mm-hmm. Isn't considered to be dealing with a long-term injury and could be available for Monday night's game.
Okay, well, that's very positive.
Adam Schefter, Debo, who also got banged up.
Debo got banged up too.
Day to day. So I'm on the 49ers with a asterisk. Trent Williams also. So it's like I need to know the status, especially of all 3 of those guys. But assuming they go and we find that out by Saturday, I would take them in this game. And even if they don't, even if
this is a really hard,
Chris,
this is a really tough game.
If Chris doesn't go and Debo does, even that may make me, assuming Trent Williams is fine. What's his status? I know he went down awkwardly in that game against Cleveland.
He was fine. He came back in.
Okay, yeah.
Trent Williams, by the way, when that fight started, when all your Cleveland guys were like, Trent Williams came over and just started wrecking people, and it ended.
Yeah. Well, he didn't wreck. It wasn't a real fight. It was just pushing. But yeah, when he came over and pushed like 3 people, it was like
it was
9
like
people moved.
It was like when the bouncer showed up. It ended. The fight just ended. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, he was the bouncer, and it's over.
What an unbelievable matchup. I watched a lot of that game, but watching that him versus Miles was like that was
unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, that's why I follow that guy. I send you those clips all the time from Brian Baldinger. He has such a great thing. He breaks down the film.
Oh, he's great.
He's just great to watch because he's watching the game. He likes to watch the trenches.
Oh, I know. Well,
like that guy, that guy's all about the trenches.
I know.
And it's just very insightful
to
see the way he analyzes technique and how how he misses with this hand and how that matters. How you get leverage underneath. It's like sick, it's like it's another level of analysis,
It is.
The thing with this game is Monday night at home, people love to bet the underdogs on Monday night at home. I know it's San Francisco, but man, 6.5 is a lot of wood to chop. No, Jack, you don't think? I'm surprised you don't like Minnesota here. It's interesting. I mean, I get it. San Francisco off a loss, and they're the best team in football.
Like if they blew us out, I kind of felt like they'd be complacent in a game like this and maybe squeak by with a field goal victory. But I think they need a convincing bat.
They're going to be focused here. They're going to be focused here.
And it's sort of like a great team with a horrible pass defense. And I think like they won't get a rush. They don't have one. I don't think they'll get a rush. And
by the way,
I think they'll pick them apart.
I thought they didn't have a rush either. But do you know that they have a guy on the team with more sacks than Watt?
Who?
I don't know his name, but I saw a thing today and I couldn't believe it. This kid is a rookie. Is he a rookie or a second-year player? They have a guy on their team who has more sacks than Watt. He has 8 sacks, and he dominated the game against Chicago. Now, I know that San Francisco is better than Chicago, but I think Minnesota's defense is playing a little better than we think. The problem is they don't have Justin Jefferson. I just
who is it, Cello? Not Dean Lowry.
No,
not Phillips.
Damn it! What's this guy's name? Did I take a picture of it? I don't know if I did. Oh,
Danielle Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter. Daniel Hunter. He has been a wrecking crew. He's dominating. He has more sacks than Watt. Watt has 7. So I'm just saying, like, they do get to the passer a little bit, but San Francisco's offensive line is way better than the Bears, obviously. I want to take I think I have to take San Francisco with you here because off a loss, I can't imagine them losing this game. And they should be able to win by 7, but I don't want it to be in our top picks.
Well, let's watch the injuries. And the good thing is that we have this at 6.5. And if we get favorable news on McCaffrey and Debo and Trent, well, I think Trent's going to play for sure. But if Debo and McCaffrey go, then
and I don't really have any trends on this stuff with this game, which was weird. So, really tough game to pick. I mean, I'll go with you with San Francisco here reluctantly because we're under a touchdown.
Yeah. Okay. Good show. We've narrowed it down to the Saints, Detroit, Tampa, the Giants. Those 4 1-o'clockers. And even the Thursday night game. So we have to decide on that. And then we sort of parted ways here for a little bit.
Seattle.
Then we came back together on Seattle, the Chargers, Eagles,
and Philly.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have about 8 games that we have to narrow it down. So I like that. We got to go from 8 to 5 before Sunday at 1 o'clock. And for everybody listening, thanks for joining this week. We will update everybody with our final picks in the newsletter and on the website and on the blog. And good luck to everybody in Megabucks Philly. You guys got another 50,000 points this week. Brad, try to make it last. Don't blow up on a money line parlay with a 13-point favorite. And don't blow up on a 4-team teaser with a 13-point favorite. There aren't any this week, so you can't.
By the way, I got to say one thing about the teasers. I will say this, like, it is a real disadvantage if you're betting teasers to be laying 120, 130, 140, whatever you're doing every week. Long term, that is an impossible strategy to win money. I'm sorry. It is, you cannot be that good where you're going to overcome those type of 20, 30%, 40% lays on ones that you're wrong on over a long period of time. The only time it makes sense, I think, to bet a teaser is a Wong teaser, which is plus 1.5 to 2.5 or minus 8.5 to 7.5. Those are the only times I'd use teasers ever. And I would never bet a 3 or 4 game teaser.
But you're saying a Wong teaser with a 2-teamer, so you only have to.
I would never bet a 3 or 4 game teaser ever in my life. Ever. Minus those odds. Yeah. It makes 0 sense. The only teaser that makes sense is a 2-team teaser. Unfortunately, at WANA, you're minus 120 every time. Whereas certain books, you can get minus 110, minus 105 on some of these teasers sometimes. No. We don't have that option at WANA. But minus 120, only Wongs and only with high conviction. You want a Wong this week? I'll give it to you. Buffalo, Seattle. You're welcome.
All right, everybody. Good luck. Thanks for tuning in. And good luck with your selections this week.
Have fun, guys. Bye-bye.
Take care.